there were problems of each one of the approaches. Sometimes the where do you set in terms of energy? Where do you set the line? Okay, is it the basic needs for cooking? There are some countries that require heating, so there's some problems with that. With the energy, using the other energy, the poverty line as the base, well, there are energy policies that change in the country and energy programs and so forth, and in order to understand how they affect energy, how prices and other things affect the energy poverty are not actually incorporated into those accounts. So we took a direct approach, actually. We had some good survey data, so we decided that we would look at how to measure the basic minimum energy needs based on empirical energy use. So, and we do have a technical paper which is available if any of you want it. Right now, it's only available by emailing me. And I'll give you my email at the end of the presentation. But we have a simplified alternative that I'm presenting here, so I don't go over my 15 minutes allotted time. The advantage of this approach that I'm just going to talk about is that it takes into account the country-specific energy policies, the pricing policies, the subsidies, the taxes, and so forth, and the household's general welfare situation, making it really independent of the expenditure poverty line that I talked about before, which is the common poverty line used to the $1 a day, the $2 a day that's used for. And actually, we use similar methods to what is used to define the $1 a day or the $2 a day poverty line that the World Bank has developed. Next. So we had a survey from 2004. This is a national rural survey in Bangladesh, and we had a rich energy data set, and this is one of the reasons why we started with this. We figured don't start off with the worst, you start off with the best, and then you try to make compromises. Next. Now, just background, as I told you before, in Bangladesh, if you look at this is rural Bangladesh, 3/4 of the energy expenditures are actually on traditional fuels. You know, Bangladesh is a very densely populated country, so they do, and this includes labor, not just the purchased fuels. But if you look at the right, about close to 90% of the energy that is used in the rural areas is over 90% is biomass based. So that's what we're dealing with in the urban areas. Of course, it's less, but basically those are the kind of things we're dealing with. Next. We originally called, I left this slide in just for humor. We originally called this, without realizing it, the minimum energy need, and the acronym was MEN, when women are actually the people who are most affected by this. So that's why I left this one in. So the households were divided into multiple income groups, 10 or more, 10 to 20. Then consumption is observed in these groups, and then energy consumption in the lowest groups is expected to remain flat before it goes up. So in other words, there's an inelastic, what the economists call inelastic proportion of the demand curve, so it goes flat and then it goes up. So that flat portion is actually the minimum energy need, because nobody is responding to price. It's actually the bare minimum necessary energy needed to sustain life. Next. So, and this is a graphic representation. We've done the econometrics and, as I said, the regressions and all that stuff. But actually, it's fairly evident even from this chart. Now, this is the household energy per capita consumption per month, kJOE per month. And as you can see, the line is about 17 kilograms of oil equivalent. So there's a flat portion there, and then around the fourth income class. So around 40, we would say from this, around 40% of we'd done the calculations too, 30 to 40, between 40 and 50% of the population in rural Bangladesh is below the energy poverty line. Next. So this gives a reason. This sort of tells you why they're there. So if you look on the left, this is the share of expenditure in income on energy, and remember this includes the imputed collection of biomass. So 25% of income in the poorest households is actually going toward energy, and this includes informal labor, as I indicated. And then it goes down as the income levels go up. So this is one of the reasons, why in the poorest income groups you don't see them responding. They really are at this bare minimum need. Next. So, and as I said, that we have these two approaches. So I think I can skip this one. Next. Now, why are we interested in looking at this? Well, once we know the minimum energy need, if you look at the factors that actually take people to more efficient ways of using energy, then you can see that the impact is their income grows. They're able to. It's actually a system that picks up speed, and people actually come out of poverty because of once they're out of this basic area where there's a self-perpetuating cycle of poverty and energy use and so forth, then you get growth. So we looked at the impact of rural electrification on incomes in rural Bangladesh, and so the impact is on income was the highest. We also had expenditures that's cut off. It's 4 to 5%. So if you get electricity, your income increases, and then actually it increases more, and so forth, and then it improves further. And I just put in the picture on the right to compare with the previous picture. Lighting with a solar PV lantern is stimulating small-scale production, very small. Maybe this guy gets $1 a day, out of producing something here. But, $1 a day over a month is $30, and it can make a big impact. Next. Now, on the left is Guatemala Improved Stove. It was a program run by the government, and as you can see, there's not as much smoke. Kerosene on the bottom in India, and LPG in India also on the right. You can see not as much smoke, so people are healthier. They can do more work. They can be more productive. They can gain more income, et cetera, et cetera. Next. So conclusion. This is a useful start, but more work is necessary to prove it works. The quality of the household energy data necessary for this, we started with very high quality, is not really available. We have a lot of multi-sector surveys now that measure a lot of different things, but for the most part, they don't measure energy use. And one of the recommendations, and we can actually do this with consumption data. So one of the recommendations is to get some of these questions into the multi-sector surveys. The approach is also useful for tracking, what we call the bank sector loans and also the Millennium Development Goals. So in other words, if you had a system to track poverty, you could see whether or not the investments being made in the countries are actually pulling people out of energy poverty. But it will require some international commitment.